If you think about all of the things that we exist within, all the layers of reality that we exist within as kind of being clockwork, and then they're all doing their different thing, but we happen to be at this place where they've all kind of just, here they all are overlaying each other. We're staring down the tunnel of the central convergence of all of these rhythms aligning so that there can be a through breath that sets the tone for where they all spin off to from here. And we are that breath. We are that moment. Like we've arrived right here for such a time as this. I think that's like the greater kind of contextual reality of the framing of the now moment. And then we have the issue of what does that mean? Like how does reality then express in all the ways that that now moment is converging before us and through us and with us and around us? And a lot of that is going to be up to our perception, our ability to perceive. And we have great potential and capacity and ability within that. And we also have great limitation. Because as much as we think that we are omniscient and omnipotent and the greatest species that ever walked any plane of reality, because we are human, it comes with its limitation. In fact, the definition of the package of being human is the sacred paradox of limitation and all things are possible, because we are the antenna, the living antenna of the all things are possible, then made real in this plane of reality, or all of those expression abilities get made real through us into this reality. We're like the little everything machine that we can take it, we can receive the everything in every moment and then be like, and this is the me-shaped package of that. So I see via the me-shaped package and then I output via the me-shaped package. And what a freaking cool thing. What a freaking cool thing that we dance with the quantum in that way. There was something I listened to this morning. It was the Neville Goddard talk on God Said Don't Look for Work, which is hilarious and fabulous and wonderful all at the same time. And I was thinking about this in the moment because I've been listening to it for well over a year, and he says in there, everything that is for you is already given to you. It's just your own kind of blocks prevent it from actually coming to you in time. So like you actually have everything you could want in the now already, but your own blocks hold it out. And when I first listened to this, I was like, oh yeah, like that makes sense based on like belief and manifesting reality and like The Secret and all the stuff, right? But what I wasn't getting when I first listened to it is the reality of that, what I was talking about before, like your uniquely sculpted shape of yourself. It just is. It is. You are you. You are the U-shaped package of you. And yeah, there's ways you can actually sculpt it and morph it. And if I want to bodybuild, I can go to the gym every day and I can, flex these muscles, and then pretty soon after like 6 months you're going to see me and I'm going to have more than just a little chicken wing right there because I've been exercising that muscle. But and I can do that with my personality, and I can do that with my mindset. There's a whole lot that can be done with that. And yet it is always the things that work for me in the gym are not the things that will work for another person in the gym, because they're going to be the me-shaped things. I don't do CrossFit. I don't like CrossFit. It comes across to me as angry and violent, and I don't appreciate it. But I do like going for a gentle run. I do like yoga. I do like kickboxing when it's like just me in the bag. So like this, each one of us have our like custom puzzle piece of self. And because of that, and because of the nature of spherical time, nested interdimensional reality, the stuff that always was, that always will be, that gets to remain consistent no matter what timeline we jump to, right? Those truest nature of things are the aspects of you that don't change. And therefore, all the stuff that could possibly be aligned to that shape is already true out there. If it's already true out there, it can also already be true right now in the now. And so then what is the only gap? The only gap between the what is true out there and what is true right now is the stuff that my own belief system, my own embodiment tissue of being alive in the 3D to allow those things in to become part of the report that is back to me of, oh, here's the now, and here's the now again, and here's the now again. The only thing that's holding that off is my own belief that I have inside of that, that's saying like, oh, I guess it can't be here yet because of all this clear evidence that I have before me not realizing that all that circumstantial evidence that I have right before me is simply a report about what was true yesterday, or what was true in the last hour, what was true in the last minute. But now's the now minute, and I'm in the middle right now of co-creating the next minute. And so when I shift that, when I heard Neville say it again, and I was just like, oh yeah, it does all already kind of belong to me. Those things that as much as I belong to them, those things that are shaped me shape of the reality outside of me and the reality within me. It's like aligning, if I was an octagon, and recognizing that all the stuff that is octagon in this reality, then in all the layers of reality, are for me to interact with, for me to delight in, to align with, to express with. I'm using that as an example, of course. But would I then, if I realized that, would I then sit in any given moment and be like, oh, I couldn't possibly, to like any good thing that was an octagon? I wouldn't. I would be like, oh, I have to obviously invite that to participate in my reality too, because that's the whole point of me being here, is inviting the things that are all the different nested parts of interdimensional reality to be true through me as a vessel of what makes things true in this reality. That's what the human experience is. It is to take all those things that are not yet manifest reality and allow them to joyously become true as I live them in a me-shaped experience of it. Like, this is the whole point. So here we sit on this edge of evolution where all the timelines have converged, all the realities have converged into a tunnel where one single breath can set the tone for what comes next as they will all go on their merry way. And I then have the opportunity to recognize what is it to be me shaped in this moment, and what do I desire? What do I delight? Truly in my heart, delight. Because that informs what I'm able to contribute in creativity to the moment. I invite what is what wants to play from the all, from God, from the scaffolding of reality, from waveforms, from angels, whatever is ready to like delight and play that is aligned. For me, my rule is for the best and highest good. Whatever is aligned to play, and I invite that to play with me because I am a reality creator. We all are reality creators, real time. Now, the other thing that is true about this moment that's I find very exciting is that our own perception ability is being stretched at each moment. The things that we thought that were the end all be all of who we could be as being human are no longer the ceilings. They're no longer the limits. They're no longer the walls of who it is we're able to be and become. So that I like to invite then to be my line of my edge of my soul's inquiry. I like to sit right at that edge, right at that threshold and ask, well, what might be possible now? What might I like to see? How might I like things to be? What might look possible now today, appear to me as possible today, that for whatever reason didn't appear to me as possible yesterday? I grew up in church. I grew up about hearing songs about Jesus being a way maker. I heard about having a light unto my path through knowing the word of God. Okay, illuminated paths. Illuminated paths, it's not woo-woo to have an illuminated path. We have headlights on cars. We know full well what it is to need a path to be illuminated in order for us to move according to it. But we also know that from our purview, we don't get the insta illumination of all paths at once. That doesn't happen. Again, because we are just our fractal reflection of the whole, just the me-shaped puzzle piece. I have one set of eyes, and that's the lens through which I get to see the world, and I navigate from there. So then it's important for me, if I want to expand my horizons or be able to grow in any direction, it's important to me to have illumination of my pathway possibilities. Because if they're not illuminated, I won't know how to take them. I won't know how to see that they're available. I won't know how to set foot upon them. I won't know how to move forward on them. I might believe that I'm limited in ways that I'm not limited simply because of what I'm able to see or not. This is where I find it very valuable to utilize that thing that the astronauts talk about as the overview effect. When you get to step back and see the world as much more broad, and your context just simply shifts. The astronauts have said they go up to outer space and they see the world, they weep, and something inside of them changes. They see things differently than how they saw them before. They used to believe that they were a citizen of whatever country, and now they simply feel that they as a being belong to that planet, to that floating blue sphere in the sky, and their connection to it becomes different. Their connection to other people on the planet becomes different. And it redefines things moving forward because it is a contextual paradigm shift. So oftentimes, even growing up, I used to think about the planet and humanity and our choices that we make as humanity from what I call an off-planet view. And I might imagine that I'm sitting up off-planet talking to an angel, or I might imagine that I'm sitting up off-planet talking to God, or something like that, where I get to have a conversation about what's going on down there, but from a lens of not being completely down inside of it and being limited by the blinders that happen when you're only down on the inside. It doesn't mean that I refuse my existence on the planet or that I'm negating my existence on the planet as walking as one of many. I also do that. I also embrace it. I also love that. It took me time to reconcile the two, but being able to put on that lens of the overview effect allows a greater contextual view that then can inform in a very different way my own worldview, my own narrative, and how I choose to make decisions and operate within that worldview and that narrative. And it's not uncommon for humans to utilize similar techniques to get unstuck from things. So in psychology, there is something called the Gestalt, and in a Gestalt framework, one would maybe sit on a pillow on this side and say, now I am my angry self, and then they would sit on a pillow on the other side facing the representative energy of their angry self and say, now I am my avoidant self, I don't want to deal with it, and say what they felt to their angry self. And they would literally talk it out. Being able to step outside of one singular, limited, and somewhat conflicting linear reality allows the ability to then untangle a situation that maybe would have looked like there was no solution. So this is an example of where we can utilize something like backing up into a greater contextual reality to be able to utilize empathy, pattern recognition, even just recognition of another view at all, to give us capabilities that we wouldn't have otherwise. And I think that as a species right now, we are at an edge of evolution where we're able to do that in a greater way. We have more available to us right now than ever before in terms of malleability of our own perceptions and worldviews and systems than at any other time that I can see on the planet. And I think that's for good reason. I think the time is now. We need that malleability. When I was recently in Davos, I spoke on the role of chaos, the role that chaos has to play in coherence being able to evolve, be able to be present at all in a stage of evolution. And we can see this in quantum theory, quantum physics theory, across many theorists, and also you can see it in biology. There are different ways that this is presenced, but essentially chaos comes on the scene, stirs the pot gets nice and loose and things go every which way. It feels really disruptive. It feels chaotic. It feels like there's unrest, because there is. It feels like there's uncertainty because there is. But also what's happening is there's a lot of malleability. There's a lot of openness. There's a lot of space where there was not space before because things were locked into a more drudgy or set pattern. So to be able to recreate something new in the middle of a system that's locked into a drudgy pattern would be almost impossible. You would almost have to wipe the whole thing out and start over. There being chaos coming on the scene allows there to be enough malleability and space between that now if there, wherever coherence does arise, there's opportunity for it to cohere and then set a new node in the midst of all the moving parts. And this becomes part of the attractive momentum that then can be carried through the entire arc of evolution. And we're already seeing that at play. I'm sure you can think of places in your life where, although there's chaos all around, you can identify where there might be a coherence node near to you that you're aware of and that feels like it has some good staying power. And it doesn't have to make sense linearly, because the things that are going to form amidst evolution are not necessarily made up of all of the pieces of reality that we're constructing the systems that they're the chaos of which they're born out of. So it makes sense that there would be other things that arise that are the building blocks of the new that would be also arising in this time. And this is another reason for setting up this edge of evolution space during this edge of evolution time, is because we have the opportunity to be so very deeply intentional about what it is that we want out of this time, who we want to be, what we bring with us. When I think about the future, I think about 3,000 years down the road. I think about us really having won in a big way, not won like a war against something, but like won, like we did good for ourselves. We're feeling that winning feeling in our soul of like overwhelming joy and abundance, because we learned how to show up with a fullness of presence, how to allow, how to be still, how to pause, how to let the things happen in the latent space, how to value things other than what we were only taught to value, and how to allow for there to be regenerative systems as a part of all of our operating systems, which means we would see things as living rather than as static, which means we would listen before moving, or at least as part of the process of moving at all. And in the year 3000, when I envision that, it doesn't look like where we are now, and it doesn't look like where we are in 500 years. It looks like we would learn how to be adaptable, and we would learn how to learn, and we would learn how to listen, and we would be in a place where the systems then are living, they are regenerative, they are listening, and they're doing that in such a whole and healthy way that what gets produced and what gets reproduced is always in a new way. So then the year 3000 we get to look at, and is it regenerative? Yes. Thriving? Yes. Teeming with life? Yes. All those things. But it looks like the year 3000 version, because it got so good at being regenerative that it regenerated. And that makes me so happy. It makes me so happy to feel what that must feel like and what that must be made up of. Imagining that I like stepped off of whatever carrier there was of humans in a transportation sense and out into the openness and took in the feelings of the place. Like, what does color even look like in a place that is truly teeming with life? When the systems don't decay and don't cause decay, but they bring life. They reinforce life. They're regenerative. What does it feel like? What does color look like? What does it taste like? What does the air smell like? And what does it feel like in my lungs when I breathe it in? Do my lungs want to take a breath just a little deeper because it feels so good to be filled with this air? Like, what is this world like? And I imagine things, I imagine wisdom and the role that wisdom plays, and that it's alive, and that it isn't parked on the sideline like some woo-woo garbage. Like, it is truly held for what it is, like a lifeline of all existence at all. And it's held like that in a valuable sense at all layers of society, or the society's plural. I can feel that. And when I back up then to this moment that I'm sitting in this seat talking to you now, I ask myself, what is it that I can do today in some little subtle way to let that value that I saw there, that I experienced there, that I held there in that future, as potent and living as it was, to allow that value to be present in my operating systems of today? How can I bring it to my moment, my self, my own presence, my taking notes today, maybe the way that I host my next meeting, or the way that I just show up to my next meeting, or the ways that I'm going to prepare my next document. I need to make an employment document for that person. I wonder how I might invite wisdom to be subtly present in that document in a way that it wasn't before, because anything at all in the direction of that being able to exist in our operating system is an exponential notch above it not existing at all in the system. And in fact, it won't have an opportunity to exist in the year 3000 if I don't find ways to weave it in there right now. And that goes for all of us. That goes for every single one of us. Whatever it is that we hope will be regeneratively present in the year 3000 or the year 500 or the year 100, it is ours to subtly weave it now into the operating systems that we are using actively today. That goes for how we utilize our AI. That goes for how we talk to our children. That goes for how we run our education systems. That goes for how we do business transactions. That goes for how we make agreements. It goes for the choices we make for ourselves. It goes for self-speak. It goes for everything, absolutely everything in our world. Our music, our ways we walk, our ways we treat our body, our ways we think about our body, our ways we talk to our body, our food that we eat, how we interact with our food that we eat, how we grow, how we connect with the background of that food or not. All of these things deeply matter in order for them to matter in the future. So we have that opportunity before us, and that brings us to the edge of evolution. We are at the cusp of the edge of evolution, not just for us, but for generations to come, for millennia to come. It's our very own to do. It's a privilege to do it. That we got to incarnate and be a part of this right now is like winning the actual jackpot of existence on Earth. We get to do this now. We get to do it together. There's so much ahead of us as a species, and we get to do it together. So thank you for coming to the edge of evolution. Welcome, and we have so much more goodies on the inside.